Hello, everyone. Hi! Hi, thank you so much. I have quite a lot of friends here tonight supporting me right before this. Thank you very much. And thank you, thank you so much, Anna. You did so well with your voice. As you can see, I was failing immediately, and I don't even have anything to actually blame. All right, then, I'll be pressing the green button. Before I start, I just want to say that I'm quite nervous, and that's coming from someone who's I worked as a producer for a long time, so I'm used to standing and talking in front of people. I'm also a singer, but I'm still nervous. And why am I saying that? Because I think you're not supposed to say that, actually, but I'm saying that because if anyone out there is like, you know what, I would also like to stand on this stage one day and talk in front of people, why would you want to do that? Because it's terrifying. Just know that people that come up and talk are not totally devoid of fear. We feel fear, most definitely. So today I want to talk to you, and you need to laugh. Like I kind of need that because I'm nervous. Thank you. That was great. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. You did great. You're a great audience already. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about making games with humanity, and I understand that can be a little bit fluffy. What does that mean? I'm not sure I figured it out myself completely either, but this is an attempt to. Behind me is a picture of me, the only picture, in fact, of myself, my father, and my brother playing video games together. It's the only photo that I have of that moment. And it's quite important to me, and it's going to lead into what games actually mean to me. Games have been everything to me. They've been orbiting around my life, my entire life. They've been community, friends, family, and love. Games have truly been more or less anything, everything to me in my life. It would be an understatement to say that games has shaped everything that I am. Way before this picture was taken. And games eventually led me to a career in games, which I'm very happy about. And here's actually a picture of me with my old team at the Outsiders. We had just shipped the pre-production milestone for Metal Hellsinger. Those were some really hard times. On that picture, some of the most creative, talented people that I've ever met. And it also led me to sing for video games, which is really cool. That was my first dream, and that happened. It also led me to some very Veeb shit, like there. Look at me, I'm cute, say ah. Cool, thank you so much. And ever since, on my birthday, I get a nerdy shirt. I'm actually wearing one right now to celebrate me. And on this shirt, I'm sure none of you can see that right now. You should be wearing your glasses, like I should be, so that I could see my notes. Is Troy Baker, Mads Mikkelsen, and Norman Reedus. And what they all have in common is two things: that they've been in Hideo Kojima games, and that none of them will marry me. Anyway, and video games has also led to me being quite Twitter famous, if I may say so myself. But none of that really matters, honestly. Even though my life has been orbiting around video games and it led me to a lot of great things, video games is actually quite a lot more. Video games has had a profound impact on my life. On the screen, I'll show you a few video games that have had that sort of impact on me. One of them taught me about courage. One of them, and probably my favorite video game of all time, taught me about the joy of not knowing anything, and to keep one foot in front of the other, and to always search, even in the face of fear. And one of these games, I'm sure a lot of people know about this one, helped me find my way back when I was really lost and I was battling depression. And when I was a kid, I was really afraid of the dark, so much that my parents really had trouble putting me to sleep. And now horror games is my favorite genre. And that's because of this game. This game taught me that I can tackle any kind of shadow, all the monsters, and I don't need to be afraid of the dark. Thank you, Resident Evil. Thank you, Capcom, for making the best video games of all time. And finally, this game taught me that love and friendships can last more than one lifetime. So truly, I think this is the power of video games. Not all of the things that I talked about, not a career, not Twitter fame, which is quite stupid. And That's what I want to talk about today, the profound impact that they can have on us and how they can change us. I want to ask you all in this room to raise your hand if you've had a game that has impacted you in some sort of way. Okay, almost all of you. Final Fantasy VII! Yes, I agree. That's a great game. So, if games is able to have that impact on us, we all agree. You all raise your hands. I saw you, except for maybe one. We can talk after. We'll figure that one out. Don't worry. You just haven't played the right game yet. If games do have that impact on us, what does that impact actually mean? That impact means a unique capacity to feel, reason, evoke emotional responses, and form relationships. And funny enough, and here's the point, that is the dictionary definition of humanity. So one might say that games give us humanity, which is pretty cool. So how do we give this back to our developers and thus ourselves? If games give us humanity, are we able to give that back to our teams, to ourselves in some way? I think so. You know, when I was a kid, I would have done anything, absolutely anything, to be in this room where I am right now on this stage among the top of our industry and talk about what I love and sharing my knowledge, getting that knowledge back, give to others what I've been given. And among that, also feeling somewhat like a rock star. I did not just compare myself to Miyamoto, y'all. I didn't say that, you were thinking it. And now I'm here. I've achieved my lifelong dream of being in video games. Everything in my life has shaped me to where I am right now. So that little girl, she had her dream come true. And how does she feel, really, about that? And to answer that question, I'm going to need your help, actually. And for this, I'm going to do an exercise. And for this exercise, I'm going to need you all to be very honest. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I'm going to be honest, too, so we can all collectively be honest together. If you're looking at your phone, now is not the time. Now we need to do this exercise. I haven't been working with a team for a year, but I feel that I'm going back into my teacher voice and my producer voice. Anyway, so I need you all for this exercise to be completely honest with me. I'll be honest too. We'll all be honest together. So I'm going to click through a series of questions on this screen. And if you can say yes to any of those questions, raise your hand and keep your hand up. Ask yourself, are you enabling or romanticizing crunch? Okay, no one? All right. I can't see you, Fra, but there's one guy up there. Are you equaling two people even? Equaling real passion with necessary pain? There's a few more. That's great. You need to be honest with me, otherwise this isn't going to work. Sacrificing myself in some way for the benefit of the game. There's a lot of you doing that. Lashing out or preventing a safe space for self-expression. I mean, I do that. I do that even at my husband. Come on. Withholding my personal needs or neglecting others' needs. Even more people. Okay, great. Thank you. I applaud your honesty. Avoiding providing consistent feedback. Are you really providing consistent feedback every day? Okay. Down prioritizing development processes. All right, yeah. Okay. Paying little attention to how I address others. So we have some of you that said feeling no to all of this. That's kind of great. I need to come and talk to you later. Because I've fucked up. I did all of these things. Okay, cool. So if you raise your hand again, if you said yes to any of these things, do that again, all of you. Great, thank you. Now look around you. Yeah. So this is currently happening at all of our studios. And why is that happening? Why is that really happening? And is there something that we can do about that? So now that we've all been honest with each other and vulnerable, and I really commend you for that. It's not an easy thing to do. I really struggle with it myself, honestly, especially when I'm angry. I'd like to go back to what I started with, that question of what video games are to me and how I feel about it now, 35 years later when I'm in the industry. I've not had an easy life, but video games were always there for me. They taught me about humanity, but more importantly, they helped me retain my humanity. Video games was actually my first love when I was a little girl. So little Sheila, her first crush was not Cloud or Sephiroth. It was video games as a concept. And then somehow, the thing I thought was never going to happen happened to me. I fell out of love with video games. I got utterly broken and shattered by the thing that all of you just attested to, that I attested to. And I haven't fallen back in love since. It's been quite a while since I actually even played a video game. The Silent Hill 2 remake that just came out, that's the thing I told myself I've been the most excited about. Didn't buy that game. I have no energy to play games, and that's what I do for a living. That's what I should be doing. And I don't want this to happen to anyone in this room. I want to mitigate this somehow. Because all of these things, they are happening, and we know it. You all said yes, right? This has happened at some point, either now or it has happened in the past. We see layoffs every other day. It's not uncommon. Our industry is young. It happens. Business decisions, I know. But this also leads to burned out, occupational burnout to teams and to leads. And what happens when we do that? I mean, I've been a part of the problem. I am a part of the problem. I've been EP. I know what it's like to keep a business afloat. But then delays are imminent because you have burned out people. You don't have enough people. And then the studio reputation is on fire. And you should all know, and you do know, because you're all here together and you're talking to each other, that devs talk. They tell each other about what's going on at the studios. And they are assessing right now if they want to be at your studio or not. And that shit spreads like wildfire, and you don't want that. I've been talking to devs for over a year now, traveling the world, and I can tell you that the outlook is pretty poor of what's happening at all the studios. And that is not okay. This is all happening to real people. And I don't want this picture. This is a great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But I don't want this picture to be representative of how it feels after we've shipped a game. But I think most of us have felt that way once we've shipped a game. We have a responsibility to take care of each other and our teams, and I know that we can do that. So I know that it's been a little bit of gloom and dark stuff, and I want to brighten up the mood a little bit. So I want to get back to my Twitter fame, if you're ready for that. So I am renowned for what the kids would like to call shit posting. And shit posting is when you post a lot of useless stuff, but it's fun. And if you don't know who Ben Affleck is, that's fine. I mean, you should know. But if you don't know, he's a famous Hollywood actor who's, except for being famous for his movies, is also famous for always looking very grumpy in photos. Actually, it's very hard to find any happy photos of him. So a few months ago, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny to make a thread about game development and how hard it is using Ben Affleck's face? And this guy's really not happy. And what I did not expect was that this thread, it went absolutely viral, on fire. And what happened was, across social media, that has never happened to me before, even on LinkedIn, and I suck on using LinkedIn. This thread was like doing the numbers, and developers were doing their own versions of how terrible game development is. I love that there's one out there that really loves this thread. Thank you. Come up to me later. You're making me feel real good right now. So people were making their own versions of how terrible game development is using Ben Affleck's face. That was really funny. But you see, the point was, the point of this was to be funny, and how game development very often makes us feel like this. Yes. Very often. I mean, every time I would have to talk to our creative director, I'd be like, you know, just having a cigarette and some beer afterwards. Damn those features. I don't really care. Let's just ship the game, right? So it got so popular that other disciplines were making their own versions of this. But the truth is, this was just supposed to be a silly, stupid thing. But that was just a half joke. Because actually people are feeling this picture to their core. It's like a coping mechanism. That's why I did it. I'm a producer. This was like a coping mechanism. As I alluded to in the beginning, due to my heartbreak with the games industry, and I'm sure this talk is way over 15 minutes right now. It was faster when I was home. Sorry, Paul. But I've been feeling extremely lost this year, and I haven't found my way back yet. But an attempt I made to find my way back was to travel this year, travel quite a lot, and meet game developers all over the world, and to ask for their help. That's why I'm here tonight as well. Ask for their help to widen my perspectives. How do I mend this heartbreak? And I did learn quite a lot of things, is the truth. I learned that I'm far from alone in the heartbreak that I feel, that many feel inconsensually removed from their love to games and what games used to give them. And I learned that a lot of people have lost total hope for management and leadership, and that they're staying in the games industry not because they like games, but because they don't know what else they could do. That's pretty fucking shitty, if you ask me. And I've been talking to so many students, people that I used to work with, and people online to reach out about the impact the industry has had on them recently. And there's just so much. There's so much hurt out there, and I think this one in the middle really hit the nail on the head on what my talk is about. For an industry whose product has brought us so much joy and to so many people, you'd really be surprised just how dehumanizing and soul-crushing looking for a role in this industry can really be. I see a lot of efforts and attempt to make people enter games, but what are we doing to actually make them stay? And you know, that's fine and all. Of course, that work is important too, but it's equally important to think about what we can do, and that's where humanity comes into the picture. Because this is what's happening currently to so many of our excellent peers. They play games, they fall in love with games, they make games, they are subjected to mistreatment, they burn out, they're creatively hurt, they fall out of love with games. Whereas this is what I think should happen. You play games, fall in love with games, you make games, you have career sustainability, meaning you want to stay, not because you're forced to, but because you're thriving. You feel creative, you have self-fulfillment, you learn things, you feel inspired, and you have an impact. Just as we all agreed that games has had an impact on us, you all said yes to that. We have that impact, and we stay in love with games. I know that everyone in this room, because all of you are excellent, I've talked to a lot of you, I know a lot of you, have the capacity to break that cycle that I just showed you and make this cycle happen instead. This is what I believe making games with humanity is. Not forgetting where we came from, not forgetting why we wanted to stay here, and also how we retain that. To keep giving to others what games gave to us. To that little boy or girl, or non-binary you were when you were a kid. We should do what we love without killing ourselves in the process. And how do we do that? I know that it's been a long venting session, but now let's talk some solutions, because that's what we're all here for, right? And I want to do a disclaimer that there are so many other solutions than what Uncle Ben is going to talk about in a second. There's so much more to say, and this is just a little bit of what I have time for today, but I argue that these are the most important things to think of. So let's go back to the exercise that I did in the beginning, and ask if Grumpy Ben Affleck can give us some concrete actions to take. Let's turn his frown upside down. I did that in Photoshop, by the way. Thank you. That was the thing you thought was the most funny. I will do more shitty Photoshop stuff. Absolutely. So let's just see what kind of concrete actions he has for us, okay? If you are enabling or romanticizing crunch, choose self-respect. And this quote isn't mine, but I think it's brilliant, because the only one who will remember all the days and nights that you put into your job is going to, when you're dead, because you will die at some point, we all will, is your family, not your teams, not your employer. So choose yourself. That needs to come first. If you equal real passion with necessary pain, don't take the easy road. The truth is, and I do this all the time myself, we choose pain instead of facing that something needs to change. We have defaulted to a mindset where, in order to make a game, it's fine that it costs us physically and mentally, and it doesn't have to be that. You all have the capacity to change those harmful beliefs. Sacrificing yourself in some way for the benefit of the game. This was the one where the most of you raised your hand, actually. And I reckon this is the thing that happens the most. Practice self-reflection. Ask yourself why you're doing that, and ask yourself, be honest with yourself if you like that answer. Most likely you won't like that answer, and if you don't, you need to make a change about it, and that's hard, but you can ask for help. I'm sure you know this, but a marathon runner needs to rest. If you sprain your ankles, you're not going to be able to run, and we all know you have so much more to give before you reach the finish line. Are you lashing out or preventing a safe space for self-expression? Well, create psychological safety. And I know that you all know that with psychological safety, when we don't fear judgment for speaking our thoughts out loud, we create excellent games, excellent culture, excellent teams. Withholding your personal needs or neglecting others' needs, allow yourself to be human. Start internalizing, and this one's really hard, that being vulnerable is actually strength. And it's courage. It's the opposite of weakness. But we live in a society where being like weepy is like some weak shit, but it's really not. Be open about your needs and receive others' needs. Avoiding providing consistent feedback. I'm sure you heard about this one. Sharing is caring, or my other favorite, feedback is a gift. I know everyone in this room wants to be excellent leaders, and they want to be the best at what they do. And the only way that you can do that, unfortunately, as uncomfortable it is to stop denying yourself this amazing gift. I hate feedback myself. It's like when I got feedback on this presentation, I wanted to die, but it's really important. It's much better now. Down prioritizing our development processes. Stop hating money, seriously. So stop wasting time, money, and people. Sustainability is the future. I know sustainability is like one of those buzzwords, but you need to talk to your teams about why things are the way that they are. And they are your greatest resource in improving your development processes and saving all of these things, all of these resources. And finally, paying little attention to how you address others. Take accountability. There's nothing sexier than accountability. So you are going to hurt people inevitably in your life. That is going to happen. And when that happens, the only thing you can do is to take accountability. So practice self-awareness, face the uncomfortable truths, and take that accountability. And that is the one thing that's going to make you go from a good leader to a great leader. I want you all to know, as I'm wrapping this up, and way above 15 minutes, I'm really sorry again, Paul, that I'm not here today because I figured all of this shit out. I really haven't. I wish I have. I wish I was invited here today because I figured this stuff out. But on the contrary, I have not. I have failed quite a lot. So the takeaway shouldn't be that I'm on some high horse and you all need to get your fucking shit together. Quite the opposite. I've been hurt, and I'm hurting, and I have hurt. And most recently, I hurt somebody that I love very, very much, and that's despite me knowing the value of all of these tools of humanity. And why is that? That's because these things require practice. They're going to require lots of practice, self-awareness, and dedication from you. That is the key takeaway of this talk. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, you know, I listened to Shila's talk, that guy Ben Affleck and stuff. I totally figured out humanity now. That's not what it's going to be. You're going to have to practice every day. And the reason that's important is because I want to help you all mitigate that you might one day, so that you may one day not hurt yourself, your teams, or even worse, somebody that you really love, in a way that you can't undo, like I have. Because that shit is way harder to deal with than making video games. And making video games is fucking hard, seriously. So I'm inviting you all to learn with me about how to thrive in our industry, to have career sustainability, to take care of each other, to take care of others. And remember that this is important, because the way we are, the way we feel, and the way that we love permeates everything that we do. And in our case, in this room, we make video games. So make video games with humanity, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you have questions, feel free to come and approach me later. It's very scary to do a fluffy talk about feelings. Thank you all so much, and thank you for laughing at my Photoshop and Affleck.